All right, one last midnight. Welcome back to another episode of Autonauts. Well, we made it to Tier 5 Colonists. Pooh, that was tough. I wound up changing a lot of the production lines, mainly around food, and then to get to the Tier 5 housing, which is these brick houses, you had to go through and you had to really build up the whole clay production line. So let's walk through the changes, because there was a lot of changes that were made. First of all, switched over to carrots. Main reason is you can fertilize carrots, and the yield is 5. And so I wound up changing the entire food production line over to carrots. Luckily, I didn't have to change much of this internal cooking structure, because all of these, you just change the recipe. You did have to change, what the bots were getting, but okay, no problem. I did have to put down pumpkins because the recipes take pumpkin seeds. And then I worked all the way up to Tier 5 food, which is this carrot curry naan. Which carrot curry naan forced me to turn my grain line back on and fix the grain line production, because I had to create the naan bread. Which then also forced me to kind of make some butter, because naan bread takes butter. And so I had to make sure that I was producing butter and had butter turns up. And I already had a milk production line, so that was working well. The other huge change, like I said, was to clay. The clay production line, I moved over here. It was on this other side over here in this little clay area. That was not enough clay to keep this production line going. So I had to move it over to this side. There was a huge clay deposit over here, so I have an abundance of clay. And I had to make the large dishes on top of the roof tiles and the bricks, and all of that's like taking mortar and other things. I am going to have to worry about changing the mortar production, because the mortar production currently right now is really slow. So I'm going to need to increase that to make that go a little bit faster. What else has been a huge change? To get to Tier 5, I did have to get into medicine, so I had to put up the alchemy station and make the leeches, which means I had to collect leeches, which I'm doing down here. And the leeches are really easy to collect. It's just like the net, and one bot just picks them up and puts them into storage. You have so many leeches, you don't really need that many leeches, in my opinion. At least I don't have recipes that are using a whole heck of a lot of them. So once I was able to get the leeches going, the alchemy station was fine. Extending out the cloth station was really easy, because I was making the dress, and then I turned around and started making the shirt, which has a dress unit as part of it, and all the other items I was already making. So to make the shirt, which is the Tier 5 clothing, was pretty simple. It wasn't a huge change to the production line. I have been slowly changing out my Mark II bots for the Mark III bots. That's a little bit tougher. I do have a station that I created that does all the additional power-ups for the bots. And I've queued up production to be 4 bots per. So as I am replacing workers, I'm replacing them with the appropriate bot. My orange bots, my little monkey guys, are going to be anything that is producing something. And then my yellow guys are going to be builders or miscellaneous guys that run things around, which seems to be okay. I mean, that's how I'm going to distinguish them in my head. They're a little easier to see. I know who's doing what task. The only thing that I see that I have a current problem with right now is really trying to keep up with the square frames. Square frames, I'm just not producing enough panels in square frames. They're being used so quickly, it's really hard to keep up on, and really the bottleneck is the square frames, because square frames are used in so many different things. They're used in the box frame, they're used in the windows, the door frame. They're also used in, I think they're used in the toy production as well down here. No, the box frame is used in the toy production. Okay, so still having to make the box frames. So I should like work on next extending out the square frame production. Since I already have a bot program for that, it's just going to be a matter of building another one of these units. And then the biggest thing is telling the bots where to pick up from. So I think I'm probably going to have to do a central storage for the square frames and have all the square frames go into there, and then just have these two guys feed off of whatever the storage is in the central frames. And then have these guys work off of the storage. So if the storage is full, to stop working on the square frames. And like I said, that's not going to be that hard of a change. It's just moving some of these things down and making another one of these and then putting a storage unit in there. And then I think that'll speed everything up. Once I have two guys making frames, they should be able to make the panels fast enough. They should be able to make the box frames and all the other things fast enough. You know, I moved over to the bench saws to make all of my planks and poles and fixing pegs and stuff like that. Man, that has been a saver. I saved so many bots from that. I think it was like I got rid of 6 bots or something that was doing that production line. And this is just working so quick. Of course, it all takes power, and you've got to have some power going. And I got the mega power stations going. That forced me to get the coal line production going. I don't remember if I did the coal line in a previous video, but I've got the coal line going now, and now I've got these guys going. So that's it. This is running pretty smoothly. I am currently right now building more brick houses. I have some citizens sitting over here waiting for housing. But the brick housing, you can see it's 7 stages. And some of these are not cheap. You know, it's like 32 bricks. Well, 32 bricks takes mortar. It takes the raw bricks, and then you have to cook them, which takes fuel. So there's a lot to do to get these buildings built. I did, however, because I just wanted to see it, I did build myself a mansion. So the mansion is the next level. And man, you want to talk about a huge production line. That was a huge production line for the mansion. And when you put a colonist in there, they're asking for new things. So they're asking for education, and they're asking for the next tier of medicine. So I'll have to increase the next tier of everything, right? The next tier of clothing, the next toy tier, the next medicine tier, and then I need to do some sort of education. So that is in the woodworks. I still have a lot of research to complete, so that's not going to be anytime soon. Let me go ahead and delete the mansion, and I'll show you what the research I'm currently working on. And so I'm into level 5 research. I'm currently doing better clothing, so that will give me the clothing for the next level, which I think is what it's like: shirt and tie and coat and scarf. And I'll have to do these other two here, the power loom and the spinning mule, figure out how those work. So that'll be clothing. I did unlock the cooking. So the next level for me for food is the carrot cake. The problem is that I'm going to have to make cake batter first and then make the carrot cake. That is going to be a very interesting change to the production line. Then I'll have to work in the leisure technology, which is the toys. So I'll probably be building, if anything, I'll probably be building the dollhouse. I'm not too sure which one I'll wind up building. Since I started with the doll, it was an easier production line, and then went into the Jack-in-the-Box. I think I'll probably wind up going into the dollhouse because I think that's the next phase of that. Then also we've got the health and then education. So I still need 20 million research bytes. I'm calling it bytes, but it's called WUV in this game. So I'm still going to need 20 million WUV to be able to complete these guys in order to be able to do the tier 6 colonists. And then when I get into tier 6 colonists, then it's working on with these other, and doing these other things. And then I'll be, I think I'll, I don't know, I'll be done. I mean, there's a lot to do still with the jobs for the rocket. There's a lot of these to do. There's a lot of other little things that I can work on unlocking. But I don't know. I don't know if I've been in a rush to unlock some of these extra things because they're mostly just cosmetic. The rest of the production line, though, I do need to work on. There are some things that I haven't worked on yet, which is the train. I should work on getting the train down. It just seems like it's kind of expensive. It's wood beams and it's a lot of poles. And I haven't yet to figure out what I'm going to use it for. So I was thinking that maybe as I'm getting these rocks, and these rocks are farther and farther away, that it would be a good idea to maybe make a train that goes back and forth and delivers the rocks. But the bots have been doing just fine, to be honest with you, especially with the Mark III bots, because they're so fast. There's almost like there's no need. I mean, this is a nice big area for the stones, so maybe I can do it over here. And you kind of have to, if you want to unlock, you know, the little special achievements that you get, you have to do some of these things like transportation. I still have to make a couple more wheelbarrows and a couple more crude carts before I can get this unlocked. I'm not too sure what this unlocks for me, but it'll unlock something hopefully good. And then the train, I think there was the simple rail train, right? So they want you to construct some track. They want you to make a hand cart. They want a carriage made, and then they want the carriage used. And that's what you need to move around back and forth. You need to transport something back and forth. So maybe the stone will be a good idea for that. Maybe I can knock that out and do that in the stone. Otherwise, this is looking pretty much complete. Aside from the transportation, I think I have a vast majority of the ones done, if not all of them done, up to date. I just need those 2 transportations, and then I'll be ready for tier 5 technology and be able to unlock the remainder of these guys. Which, like I said, these guys give you some little additional things that you can wind up building. All right, well, that is it for me. I just wanted to give you this update, let you guys know what's going on. A lot of this stuff in this game, and this is true for Satisfactory, Dyson Sphere, this game, any other factory type game. There's a period in time which you wait. I mean, you have your factory built, everything is running the way that you expect it to be built, and it's self-sufficient. All you have to do is sit and wait for resources to generate. And in this case, it's research bytes. That's what I'm waiting on. Once you get enough research bytes, then you invest your time in reworking your factory so that it runs smoothly again at the next tier level stuff. And then it's another hurry up and wait kind of game. And these guys, you know, even though they're producing, what is it, 10,000 WUV or 10,000 research per, it still takes a while for them to produce it. And you could see, if you look in the lower right, you could see how slowly that progress bar is filling up. So that maybe they produce 4 or 6 per until they have to have new clothing, new toy, new medicine. So you're going to need a lot of these guys to still be able to produce enough research bytes to be able to complete whatever existing research you have going on. It's good to have multiple of these research stations going on, by the way. Otherwise, you're just going to get slowed down. You're going to get bogged down in waiting for one to complete because it takes so long for them to eat the research. The bigger the research is, the longer it takes for them to eat it up and put it into the machine. All right, well, that is it for me. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, hit that like button. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Would love to have you in the community. If you want to follow me on any of my social media, you can find links in the description below. And make sure to hit that notification bell. That way you know when I go live and when I post new videos. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.